So this is the all-new Volvo ES90. It's a luxury sedan or saloon that's going to shake up the EV world. Well, Volvo says this is a statement of life in balance. But what does that actually mean? Well, from what I've seen so far, it's a statement of calm Scandinavian luxury, cutting-edge tech, and next-level safety. Right away, looking at the proportions, this tells us this is something special. We get 22-inch alloys on here, bezel-less mirror. This is 3.1 meters in terms of the wheelbase, so it's long, it's wide, it's low without looking intimidating. What I love about this is the Volvo elegance, but with a futuristic edge. So it's looking so sharp here. You'll also notice the high shoulder that runs the full length of the car, the pop-out door handle, the sloping roofline that gives you that fastback kind of vibe. And all this just results in a 0.25 drag coefficient, which is the best ever in Volvo's history. And oh, the charging port is also here, which now supports 800 volts architecture, which means super fast charge. And because this is a hatchback design, practicality hasn't been sacrificed. I'm talking this big boot opening aperture, which means it makes it easy to load up your items into the boot. You can even lower and raise the height as well, which is fantastic. You can drop the back seats to get more space, and there's plenty of space in here anyway to store all your luggages for that weekend trip away. And what's the actual frunk? There's hardly any space here to actually make it usable. Volvo has gone for a living room style experience back here. So we get 3.1 meters of wheelbase. So passengers get business class leg room, and check this out. Each seat can recline individually, and also you get an armrest here that's pretty much lounge style. You get 2 cup holders there and 2 USB-C ports here, and you can even control the ventilation and the temperature back here. And because Volvo doesn't mess around with sound, we have 25 Bowers & Wilkins speakers set up in here, pumping out 1600 watts of Dolby Atmos audio. They even have an Abbey Road Studios mode, and that's the level of detail we're talking about. So far, the ES90 looks good. We're talking about that sleek design. It's pretty futuristic looking, and it's very Scandinavian. And when we look at the back seats as well, it's a really lovely cabin to be in. The materials feels really good. If there's anything I would change about the materials here, some bits feels very plasticky. Listen to this. And when we're talking about luxury, they should have done something about that. And the chrome effects that's been used in here as well. It could be a bit more luxurious. And also, one thing that I noticed straight away is the door handle here to open the door. It just blends in with the car. And I think that should have been made to look a bit different. So sometimes passengers are looking for ways to get out the car without realizing that actually it's just this bit. Put your hand in there and you can open the door. And for comfort, for someone who is 5'11", there's plenty of space for my head in terms of headroom, plenty of space for my knees as well. It's just really nice and comfortable. The sitting position isn't too bad as well. And for bonus, you can recline the seat. Now let's talk tech, because this is where the ES90 really flexes. Underneath all this is Volvo's new Superset tech stack, which is the same architecture found in the EX90 SUV. And what this means is this is going to get better over time, because this is software focused. So updates can come via over-the-air updates, so they can change things over time, and it gets better and better. Powering it all is dual NVIDIA Drive AGX Orin computing system. It's capable of over 500 trillion operations per second, and that's the brain behind everything from driver assistance to predictive safety and comfort systems. So up front we have head-up display, we have a 9-inch instrument cluster, which is very sharp. I love the display quality on there, very bright as well, especially in a bright sunlight situation like this one. Then we have this just on the 15-inch infotainment display that's in portrait positioning. If there's anything I hate about this here, or any issue that I have, hate is a strong word, is there's a lot of space behind here that serves no purpose. Perhaps that could have been served as a wireless charging pad. Because speaking of that, we only have one wireless charging pad here, Qi wireless charging. It's not 2. So the Tesla, for example, gives you 2 wireless charging areas. That's super fast as well. We have 2 cup holders here. There's 2 USB-C ports here. And then underneath here is another space where you can store things. So maybe your phone when you're not using your wallet or whatever. I also have this dual looking design here for the volume control for the passenger. And this display is updated. It is Android powered. But whilst I'm not going to go through everything it can do, the main thing on here is just how smooth and slick it is. Everything just runs smoothly. Only issue here for me though is the fact that a lot of the functionality that I would rather have buttons for are on here. For example, light control, it's here, not here. So if I quickly want to change lights and all that kind of stuff, I have to come here and activate it. Roof shading is here, so you can press that for that electrochromic sunroof, which is pretty cool. Glove box, you open it through there. But in settings though, you can see some of the options here. So for example, all the safety option, we talk about how good this is in terms of safety. You got steering assist, you got lane change assist, so much option on there. Even has cornering assist, which means speed goes down when you're cornering. And then once you completed that maneuver, it will go back to the original speed that you were doing. But the real story is all about this Abbey Road Studio sound and all the sound tweaking that you can actually do here. So in studio mode, you can change the focus from all, driver, front and rear. You can see them change as you're moving things around. We go to stage mode, which gives you a wider sound stage. So you got 3D surround, you got concerts as well. And you can change things and tweak the intensity, the envelope, so the immersive nature of it, you can change that. And then you can go to Abbey Road mode, which gives you intimate settings, open, energize, expansive, and producer mode, which I think is pretty cool. If you open Abbey Road thing here, you can see more about what you're actually doing. So you can move things around, you can change the intensity, you can change the way the soundstage widens. So you got narrow, you got wide there. Or if you don't know what you're doing, you can always go to energize, open, intimate, or expansive, and things will change automatically. If you don't understand it, you can press info and this will run you through the whole thing in terms of how this works, what each settings mean, and so on and so forth. So this really is probably a technological or technology pinnacle of what sound settings should be like in your car. So how's the performance, and is this thing actually quick? Well, depending on the version you get, the powertrain ranges from one that gives you 303 horsepower in a single motor to a massive 680 horsepower in the twin motor performance version coming very soon. That's good for 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in just 4 seconds with up to 870 Newton meters of torque, all delivered in silence. But the real story isn't just the speed, it's serenity. Thanks to the dual chamber air suspension and one of Volvo's quietest cabins ever, every drive feels calm, smooth and composed. How about the range? We're talking up to 700 kilometers WLTP, thanks to that 106 kilowatt hour battery and 800 volt architecture if you go for the top range. At a 350 kilowatt fast charger, you can go from 10% to 80% in just 22 minutes, or at 300 kilometers in just 10 minutes. The ES90 is also ready for bi-directional charging, meaning it can power your home or even feed energy back to the grid. This is a smart step towards sustainable energy ecosystems. And with plug and charge, the car can be plugged in and it will handle everything to do with payment and authentication all by itself. It takes away the headache of figuring out which card I'm paying with, which app I'm using when I get to every charging station. So the car doesn't just see, it also learns. So it can detect distraction, it can monitor driver's attention, and if needs be, it can even step in to support you. But here's something that's really cool and exciting. It also has this occupant monitoring system. So it can detect something as small as a baby in the back breathing. There's also a door opening alert that warns you of passing cyclists or pedestrians before you swing the door open. It's those little details that reminds you that Volvo still thinks about real people in real situations. The ES90 isn't just about performance. It's a key part of Volvo's plan to become net zero by 2040. It's built in a climate neutral plant using 100% renewable energy and made from 29% recycled aluminium, 18% recycled steel, and 16% recycled polymers and bio-based materials. And check this. Their innovative material, Nordico, is made from recycled PET bottles, bio-based materials from sustainable forests, and certified wood. Even the battery passport uses blockchain to trace critical materials like lithium and cobalt, so you can actually know where everything came from. So it's sustainability that actually feels genuine and not just a checkbox. So what is it like to drive the ES90? Well, to begin with, I've got my hoodie on now because it just got a bit cold up in the mountains here in France. But that aside though, honestly, this is calm, it's confident and effortless. And speaking of effortless, the cabin does a really good job at isolating noise from the outside, so you don't get any road noise. Even with the big 22-inch alloys, it just sounds so quiet in here and serene. And when it comes to the driving and handling, it feels good, it's nicely weighted. And if I have any issues with that, it'll be the steering input when it comes to turning and doing all these bends through this countryside road, for example. So I find myself doing a lot of turn for little result. So that's something that I would have probably changed myself. In terms of the steering weight, you can change that in the settings, so you can have it feel a bit more weighted, a bit stiffer. And you can change the chassis settings as well, just one little settings and you go. And although this feels a lot comfortable here, and it's probably down to the road surface here, they're a lot more better, they're much more better than the UK. Having said that though, you get adaptive air suspension in this, which means it still does a good job at absorbing those little bumps in the road and helps with the handling as well in a really good way. So I think overall you get a really good system here that drives really well. It's nice and quiet and serene and it's comfortable. I like the sitting position. I'm not too high up, not too low, and also visibility is great. Apart from the visibility through that back window, it's not the best I've seen out there. So that's something to bear in mind. And you get the fast charge to go with it as well, and the range is pretty decent. And we're even going to get a faster, much faster powertrain, or much faster version coming very soon as well, which means you have the option to go for something like this, which is rear-wheel drive, or you can go for that next level up that gives you much power. So that's something to bear in mind in terms of deciding when or if you're going to be getting one. But I think overall, really good experience, and the car looks good. For any businessmen or people that are going to be driving this for long distance, you are in for a treat. Good sound system as well to match, and it just feels nice and comfortable. So overall, really good drive, and I don't say that very lightly. As for the torque as well, it delivers it when you need it. So whether it's you're just cruising along, it's there, and when you need to just quickly just give it some power, some boost, it just does it. You put your foot down and it just goes. And it could be more agile, it's rear wheel drive, but it's agile enough to make you feel nice and settled and comfortable around bends and corners without feeling, less confident. You feel the confidence with it as you're driving. So all in all, really good driving experience. Oh, so smooth, and it just does a really good job at making you feel confident as you're taking all these corners here in the countryside, country roads. And the brakes are great as well, especially when you're doing these corners and cars could be coming at any moment. So it's easy to quickly do the braking. Energy recuperation is there as well, and you can almost one pedal drive it. You can change the settings in terms of how intense that's going to be in the settings as well. So that's good in terms of having a car that drives just the way you want it to drive, and it's not imposed on you the way that you should experience the ES90. So that's the all-new ES90 in Mulberry Red. Would I buy one of this? Absolutely yes. The pricing is still something debatable, something that's probably not that attractive for me in this day and age. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Would you buy one? Let me know. If you have any questions, drop them there as well. And don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next one.